Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to make a background pattern out of some peg stamps, and I'm going to show you a really nice card I got from my great niece. I hope you'll stay tuned. So my great niece made me this thank you card, and she put in all kinds of things that were special to she and I. A little tree, and having fun, and the family tree, and then the P for Parker, and these really lovely poppies, P for Poppy. Anyway, she made this card for me, and I was really tickled when I got it, so I wanted to share it with you. Of course, I'm going to put it in my stash of cards. Then I went to a store that was going out of business, and they had single sheets, great big sheets of watercolor paper. So I cut this down, and I did a terrible job because it's not any kind of even number. This one is 11 inches, which I did pretty well with that, but on this side it's about 7 7/8, so clearly I didn't do well on that side, but we're going to go with it anyway. So we're going to be using this set of peg stamps that are called Blue Eden, and I thought because the name is Blue Eden that we would go with some blue distress inks. And those are Faded Jeans, Stormy Sky, and Chipped Sapphire, and maybe Tumbled Glass. And then in the greens, I think I'm going to use Ice Spruce and Pine Needles. But I might change that up. You never know. And here are the 4 stamps in this set. The 4 stamps look like these. I'm going to hold them in place so you can see them. There are 2 greenery stamps. This one and this one are greenery, and then this is a small flower and this is the bigger flower. Now if you've never used peg stamps before and you have a little peg stamp like this, can you see that the flower is really small? You need to make sure when you have that you cut down your sides, and you can do that with your utility scissors. Here's what we're going to use. You just take your Tim Holtz, these are the best to use, the red rubber scissors. You just take them and you're going to want to cut off the edges that are not, they're going to leave what they call a halo. That means it's going to leave a little line on the edge, and you don't want that, so we're going to cut all of these sides out and just leave behind the little flower. Sorry, kind of have to get out of frame so that I can see exactly where I am. So I've cut down all of the edges on my stamps so I don't get a halo, and I'll show you that so you can see where the edges are no longer straight up and down. Sorry about my nail polish. I was labeling my Arteza markers and I chewed up my fingernail polish. I don't know how you can do it with that, but I'm capable of doing anything. The next thing I'm going to tell you is always keep the packaging from their stamps. Mainly these lids. They really come in handy for a variety of things, but when you're only using 4 or 5 stamps, it's really nice to hold them in that while you're working. And I'm going to start on the corner and work my way in, and I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper underneath it so that as we go we don't have a big mess on my background. Okay, hopefully I'm in the shot. I think I'm going to use some spice spruce first and maybe some pine needles later. I might start stamping with distress inks and then change over to another kind of ink. I don't know yet. I'm just saying, I don't know. And I'm going to start with Stormy Sky and Faded Jeans. I think Faded Jeans I want to use on the bigger stamp, so I'm going to start with that in the corner like that, and then I'm going to put in the bigger leaf. Hopefully I can make that work. Hold on, make sure. When you use these stamps, you want to make sure that you use this little line as a way to know exactly where the bottom of the stamp is. So in this case, that little point right there is what's going to show up when that line, you know, when I stamp on that line. In the case of this flower, they have it so that it's kind of right there, and so I'm not going to, that's not a useful reference for me, but you never know, it might be useful for somebody else. Okay, I'm going to use Stormy Sky for the little flower, and I'm going to stamp a few of those around just to make sure they're kind of in the background. And then I'm going to come off the side with ice spruce and this other little leaf. I don't really like the color of this green with that pine needle, so I think I'm going to change out my pine needles for a different color. No one will ever notice that that one leaf is weird. Then I think I'm going to change to chipped sapphire and see if it's too dark for our big flower. Let's see, let's go right there. It's not that big of a difference, is it? That's much better. I'm pushing down harder. This is Foameran, and it's expensive, so you don't want to ruin it when you do this. So I'm just cautioning you if you ever decide you're going to use your Foameran for this. I'm going to put it underneath, so when I stamp, my stamping is a lot cleaner, and I like the look of it better. And I'm going to just change where this leaf is every time I do the leaf. Okay, then I'm going to go with our little flower, and this time I'm going to go with tumbled glass, although I did like it in that other blue color. I just think I want to mix this up a little bit. Buy some more rubber stamps, peg stamps. They had a big sale this last week, and I was going to see if there was anything in here that would look good. No, I guess not. I got some fish and what do you call that? The thing that brings babies. Jeez, oh man, I can't think of what it's called. It's a bird. Anyway. And then I got some confetti and some fireworks and a banner. The stork. That's, jeez. I was going to have all of you chime in. I'm going to find another small flower to throw in there. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this because in the end we're going to be making a card out of it. Now that you see the idea of what I'm doing, you understand how to do it yourself, and I don't want you to have to sit here and watch me do this for an hour, because it's going to take me a while to do this, and I don't want you to have to go, oh geez, Sandy, you ever going to be done with that? So we'll finish it once, well, I'll finish it now, and then when you're back, I'll have this done, and we'll start doing something with our actual background. So once I finished stamping all of it, I really didn't like the look of some of, well, the way I'd stamped the bigger flowers. See, some of them are kind of not filled in, and so, oh, and I had some issues with stamping here, so that line is kind of ugly, and I'm going to see if I can work around not having that in any of my projects. But anyway, I'm using a Stabilo 68 pen to fill in all of the big flowers. I'm just kind of scribbling in the centers, well, not the centers, inside each petal, so that I end up having these look a little bit better than I thought that they did. So I want to dry the rest of my marker just to make sure that we don't end up with gold embossing powder everywhere. I have some foam, light foam, underneath so that when I stamp, the stamping will work well. And then I'm going to use Brutus Monroe embossing ink. It's a clear ink, and that stamp that I already talked about. Before I do that, I'm going to go over my whole image with my embossing pouch. I'm sure you remember this. I made it out of a nylon, actually knee-high, that I doubled over, and then I put cornstarch inside of it, but you could put baby powder in there, and this will make it so that no fingerprints or anything wet will adhere to this other than our ink, if that made any sense. So I'm going to do just a portion at a time with my stamping, and I probably won't know where I've done the stamping until I put the embossing powder over it. And then I'll also be able to figure out at that point if I missed an area. Since I don't really know where everything is, I'm going to do it like this, where I'm just going to, oh, that was a good job. Let me heat set this, and then we'll know where we need to work on to add more of our yellowish. Okay. So I'll come back after I've finished the rest of the sheet. So finally, I have my background done, and I've even cut out some of it to make my first card. So there's what part of it looks like. And then I wanted to show you this. If you like to die cut, but you hate digging all the little pieces out of your phrases, or if you hate it when you're the cutting plates get all beat up, this is something I saw on, let me think of the name, Clarity Stamps. She takes these things you put in your notebooks that you put paper, you slide paper down into it. I can't think what these are called. But anyway, she takes those and she puts one into her, on top of the first plastic plate. Alright, I'll show you how I do it. Now these are my old beat up plates, but still, I'm doing this. I put it in like this so that that folded piece is underneath, and then I put my die and my paper in, and then I put this piece on top, and then I run it through my die cutting machine. And what it does is it saves me from picking out most of these little pieces. Almost all of them come out in the machine, and it makes it so that my plates are nice. So that's what I did, and I like it. I thought that was smart that Clarity Stamps came up with that. So I went through my scraps, and I have a lot more scraps than this, and I thought I would use some of them to make these cards, because why not, right? So the first thing I did was I stamped on the inside of this card, Thinking of You Across the Mile. I got my stamp from a Penny Black set called Eloquence, the Thinking of You Across the Miles, and I stamped that in the Night of Navy that is a Stampin' Up! Ink. Then I cut out some different sentiments, thinking of you, thanks, and a couple of hellos. And this paper I cut, it's 8.5 inches across, and it's 5.5 inches tall. Then I scored it at 2 1/8. Then I turned the paper around like this, and I scored it at 2 1/8 again, so that I created a gatefold card. I must have some red ink on me, because that was not like that before. So I took my bone folder and I flattened these out, and I know I've got ink all over me. Then I cut paper. This is some scrap. This is now 1 7/8 inches by 5 1/4 inches tall. This is extra strong glue tape from Glue Dots. Jeez, I can't even think of what I'm talking about. Glue Dots. Okay. before I go any further, I'm going to see if I can get that red ink off of that spot, because it's bugging me. It doesn't matter the spot that's in just a little bit from the edge, but this little spot on the edge will show up. I don't think that spot will show, but we'll know in a minute. I already gave you the measurements for these, I'm pretty sure, but if I didn't, I could give them again. It's, you know, it'll always be below in my information at the bottom of my video. And I'm sorry my light probably just changed a little bit because one of my lights just went out. Darn it. Hate it when that happens. So I'm going to put that one as centered as I can. And then I did the same thing on the other side, same sizes. 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to, then I cut my paper that we decorated, and I'm trying to make sure that they're kind of even. So I cut this at, excuse me, 5 inches tall. Remember, this is 5 1/4. 5 inches tall by 1 5/8. And I want to put this piece like this because I don't like that flower. So remember how I told you I was going to fix that row so that I didn't end up with a problem from it? Well, I wasn't kidding. I've got a system. You betcha. Then I made a belly band. If you're not familiar with the term belly band, it's a strip that goes around your card. And this is 3/4 inch tall, and I didn't have a long enough strip of this color, so I just glued 2 pieces together, and an 11-inch piece will work great. But I'm just going to wrap this one around, and I'm just probably going to put a little row of tape. Oh, I've got to go the other way probably. And I really wanted to make sure that this belly band is a little bit loose. You don't want it to be super tight, because if it's super tight, you can't get it off. So I'm going to make it a little bit on the loose side. If you ever have problems and you have adhesive like that, you get one of these. It's an adhesive remover, and that's what it does. It just does what I just said it does. Then I think what I want to do is put some kind of something there, and then I'm going to put one of my words on top of that. That's too big. Let me grab some, I don't know, maybe I'll use some goldish ribbon. I'll be right back. Alright, so I put tear tape on my green strip, and then I took this ribbon and I just laid it on the front half, and then I'm just going to take this piece and make sure that it lines up exactly with the other end. Not the greatest job, but no one's going to be going, oh geez, Sandy, can't you do that straight? We're going to take our stamp. There's that. So that was before I forgot, because you know, inevitably, that's what I'm going to do. So then we have our little hello. I think I'm just going to put that right there. And back to my glue that's now oozing everywhere out of the bottle. You can use a Xyron machine. That makes this into a sticker. I like my Xyron, but I don't love it. And the reason I don't love it is because when you have these teeny tiny little parts of a sentiment where you could end up having them get that glue stuck between them, it seems to always happen that way for me. Just so you know, it bugs me just a little bit. Okay. Now I've got my hello on there. So that's card number 1. Card number 2, what I thought I would do, was that a rhyme? Yes, it was. our next one, what I thought we would do is, I have these fun triangle dies, and there's a huge number, you know, small to large, and what I thought I would do with these is make a layered card. I thought what I would do this time is use a crazy blue color for my background. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide which ones of these we're going to use. And I thought what I would do is have this card go in this direction. And so this is 5.5 inches. So if I have one that's 1.5 across, I think I'm going to overlap them a little bit maybe. I thought what I would do is put my background paper that I made in this size, and then maybe use some of this paper underneath. So I'd make 3 of this and 3 of my background. So let me cut those out and I'll be right back. Okay, now card number 2, I die cut and attached 3 of these. So that's going to go in the front of our card. Then I took some tear tape and I wrapped it all around the front of my card. I put the front on, and now I'm just going to wrap this around the back like that, and then we're going to take this little piece and wrap it, and then we'll just cut that right there. Then I have this piece of bric-a-brac, is that what you call it? Bric-a-brac ribbon. I'm trying to use up scraps and ribbon right in the center, hopefully, of my existing ribbon. And then I'm going to flip it over, and hopefully it's long enough to go the whole way around. If it's not, we'll just cry just a little bit. I'm going to cry just a little bit, don't worry. No, we're not going to cry. What's the point of crying about something like that? You can put a button there, you know what I'm saying? You could do anything to fix that little boo-boo. So that's that. And then I thought, and this is probably going to be crazy dumb, I thought I would try to put my thinking of you. I'm just going to make a little strip of that gold. What I might do is I might cut around it. So for our next card, I took a 5.5 inch across by an 8.5 inch long, scored it 4 1/4 to make a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. Then I rounded my corners with my favorite corner rounder, a Katumaro Pro, I think that's how you say it. And then I decided I don't like the white edges, so I'm going to use some scattered straw from Distress Inks, regular Distress Ink, not Distress Oxides. And I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and put underneath it. And then I'm going to get the new brushes. These are those brushes that are supposed to be so wonderful. I've not had good luck with them, but I'm going to try this time to have better luck than I have in the past. So the things that I've seen other people do that I think I did not do right, I'm going to push this up more so you can see it better. I think the thing that I didn't do right is when I inked it, I didn't hold it by the head, so I wasn't really putting it into the ink as much as I should have. And all I'm trying to do is make sure my edges are this golden color. I've had fun with this background paper that I made because it's given me all kinds of ideas of like what to do with it, you know, like different patterns to cut it. And this is just a very ordinary, the simple way we've always done it, but The rest of them I think are going to be different. The first thing I'm going to glue down is this paper. It's it's got, I was trying to think of the word it's got. It has glitter in it. There we go. Finally the word glitter came out of my mouth. Chippers creepers. I just say the stupidest things sometimes, don't I? And then here is how we're going to attach it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. And then this piece we're going to put on top. Oh, I want to put foam tape underneath that. Now, I often use fun foam, you know, the kids' fun foam for the backs of mine. I like it because it's easy to put on, and it's so much cheaper than the foam that you buy in stores. You know, that 3M I think makes it. I don't like to spend that much money on something that no one's going to see. I'd rather put it into things that are on the front of the card rather than in the guts of the card. So I bought this foam tape on AliExpress, and I'll put a link below so that you know where I got it. It wasn't very expensive, and I got a significant amount of it, which made me happy. Okay, let's see. How's that hit ya? That's pretty straight. Then I have this thanks that I thought I would just stick right there in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to put some wet glue behind it. Time for our last card. And this one we're going to make another 5.5 inches across by 4.25 inch tall. And I'm going to use a piece that's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. That's this piece. And then I'm going to take Salty Ocean. This is a different style than the other one, and it seems like this piece is stronger on these ones. And again, I've only done 1/8 of an inch border, so it doesn't need to be inked really far in there. The other one had this kind of neck on it, and I got them both from AliExpress, but I like this one much better, the one that's bronze. And I'll link the information about those, you know, like where I got, what company or whatever that I got them from. I'll make sure to put that below, as I always do. Okay, so here's this. Then what I did was I took my foam tape and I put it between these two layers, if you can see it. And so it looks like that. And then I thought I would put this layer right there. This one is Glue Tape Plus. We'll see how this works. These mini glue dispensers, they seem to beat me at every game I play. A lot on that one because it doesn't seem like this is going to be very sticky. And then I'm just going to lay it really close to the edges. There's that, and I always get this upside down. I don't know if you can see that I have, this piece was a little bit longer, so I've got a blue bottom to it. I could change that, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to put the tape on it like I did everything else, but, oh geez, upside down again. But I'm also going to put wet glue. And then that way we'll be sure everything will stick. I'm doing 4 of these, and then I think I'm going to do this little hello, if I can fit it. And if I have another thanks, I don't think I need another. Yes, I do. I need another thanks. So I think I'll use the thanks on this one. Okay. And the wet glue I'm using is Essentials Tonic Essentials. I thought what I would do with these, hopefully this will work. Everybody's okay about moving except for this one. Okay. Now we're doing better. I gotta move it up into onto my paper more so you can see it. There's that. Now, I'll tell you something I think you should always have on hand is a paper clip like this, because you have so many things that clog. So if you have one of these, that you can really open up your clogged pores, you're good to go. Okay, I'm gonna... Now, if you aren't familiar with stickles, they're made by Ranger. This is not a Stickles. This is Studio G. That I think you get these at Michael's. I'm pretty sure that's where I got them. They're not as good as the Stickles, but they both have the same issue, and that is they take forever to dry. So if you're thinking about doing something with Stickles or with any glitter glue really, remember to give yourself, I would say overnight, if you're using as much as I'm using, to ensure that you're going to end up with a dried thanks. Otherwise you're going to end up with smeared thanks. Okay, so I probably, if I could think of something to stamp over here that I could maybe I'll stamp some of these, and then I'll put some of the glue on them too. Okay. Come on, buddy. What I'll do is I'll wait for this one to dry, and then we'll show you that tomorrow, because it's going to take that long to get it to do something. Oh, the other thing is, when you're done with this, squeeze it so that the air goes in the top, and that will help you to not get it clogged. I always forget to do that, so I'm saying do as I don't do, do as I'm telling you. And then I'm going to do a little bit of green, and I'm going to use the same leaf we used before. And I'm going to go out from the edges. Here. And right there. Okay. So that's where we stand for right now, and when it's all dried, I'll let you see it. This is our last card. I decided to use one of these made up cards that, you know, say love on them, and I cut some paper that I'm going to layer like this, and then I'm going to put I'm going to add to this a foam tape underneath. Oh, not working for me here. It's not playing my game. Anyway, I thought what I would do is add it to my card with some foam tape underneath the turquoise paper. That looks pretty good. Then I'm going to put foam. Where did my foam go? There it is. Put some foam under this. So then we're going to stick. Ooh, come on. No, no, no. Uh-oh. Okay. There's that. Then I thought I would add some real stickles to these. Ooh, that's nice. And they'll hold up. I don't particularly like the flowers on this one, so I thought what I would do is just add stickles to the ones that bug me a little bit. It's not great, but it's not horrible. We're going to go with that. Then we have our little hello here. I have some really, really high. See this? This is foam that is made for a really, really tall project. And what I thought I'd do, I'm going to cut a really thin strip. And that way we'll be able to put it behind the letters on hello. And I'm going to put one piece straight across the L's. Put it down a little bit more. Okay. This is a white gel pen. What I think I'm going to try and do is make some dashes and dots on the hello. So let's go over all of our cards. This is the one I just finished that says hello on it, and I put some white stitching on here, and I used a wink of Stella. Hold on. Let's see if you can see any of the shimmer. I put it on all around on this turquoisey colored paper, the bluish paper, and over the hello, and over some of the flowers in here. So here are our 5 cards. I hope you enjoyed this, that you figured out that you can do a lot with just using your basic stamps. I love these peg stamps, and making your own backgrounds. I hope you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.